And so if you aren't familiar about the Gathering Spot is a community of black entrepreneurs that happen to be in a building that started here in Atlanta. Two brothers, one by the name of Ryan Wilson and TK Petersen, two brothers who went to Georgetown together, young guys, man, them guys might be 32, 3 years old
There
right
you go.
now. Started this thing about 7, 8 years ago. My name is on the wall. Tracy's
Yes.
name is on the wall.
Common's name is on the
Common's
wall.
name is it's all the founding people who were there in the beginning, and I don't say that as a flex. That was the way this community was built. My
Yes.
name is one or two names above Commons on the wall, in addition to Keisha Lance Bottoms and T.I. and
Yeah.
Ambassador Young, and so many people who were believed in this community from the very beginning. Excuse me. And so what happened about 2 years ago, a year, actually wasn't that year, it was a year ago, they were acquired by Greenwood. So we're going to get into that conversation because that is
Yep.
all over the internet right now, because Greenwood, who purchased them a little over a year ago, has fired one of the founders of this organization, and the community ain't having it. So as we mentioned, this big story that is going on around the community is the story of the Gathering Spot. And I want to give you guys a little bit of context with the Gathering Spot. So when you look at this picture here, the two brothers that are here, well, they're kind of flanked on the outside. Ryan is in the foreground. On the far end with the locks is TK. In the middle is Paul Judge and Ryan Glover. So co-founders of the Gathering Spot sue Greenwood for allegedly breaching purchase agreement, seek to regain ownership. So here's the story. The Gathering Spot, as I mentioned, started about 7 or 8 years ago. Building here in Atlanta. They had a second location in DC. The third location is in Los Angeles. But in the meantime, they have built relationships and built a community that's nationwide, if not worldwide, right? And
And the
so,
Atlanta location, Miguel had his birthday there. It
mhm,
is a fabulous location. It
yeah,
has the meeting spaces, the podcast rooms, like it has a restaurant space, an outdoor space. It's
hmm,
everything you could imagine. Imagine like a kind of collective
yeah,
professionals having their own space.
yeah.
This is what it is.
No, and it's amazing, and that's just the physical building, and that's the part. The physical building is amazing. We definitely love the physical building, but it's the community, right? Because it has an
Mhm.
app. It has its own app that we can go
Oh,
in
nice.
and find people who are doing whatever, or provided whatever services and activities throughout the community. In addition to that, if anyone follows Ryan, Ryan is much more the vocal one. Ryan is the face. He's a longtime CEO. TK's position, he was the CFO. He was the financial guy. These two brothers met in Atlanta. I mean, not in Atlanta. Met in DC as students at Georgetown. They created this thing in their dorm room. It was that serious for them, and then all of a sudden,
And
these
everybody says all of a sudden. It's all of a sudden to the people on the outside looking in. Let's can
yeah,
we can we,
man.
can we say that?
Yeah, because when it came down to when the purchase happened, let me even back up further because I've got a lot of context as I'm sitting here in Atlanta. Anybody who talks about the greatness which is Atlanta, Atlanta is an amazing place for black folks in different areas of the world, right? Probably I'm gonna go say 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, the two brothers in the middle, Paul Judge, who is a brilliant, he's Dr. Paul Judge. He is a brilliant tech entrepreneur. He's brilliant. He's just a really sharp guy. Ryan Glover, who's next to him, was an entrepreneur. He used to own Bounce TV. What?
Oh, it's that Paul. This is for those of y'all who don't know, who are like Paul. He's just saying all these names. If you watch Real Housewives of Atlanta,
It is. That is correct. I just made it
Paul
make sense to
was
you.
yes. Paul is the life partner of what I can't think of the woman's name right now, but he was on a couple seasons
Tanya,
of
Tanya
Real House.
something, Tanya something. I don't.
Tanya. That
Tanya.
was her life partner. Remember the cookie lady? That's Paul from the cookie lady. Okay, now we're
Okay.
good to go.
Now we're good to
Yes.
go.
Sorry.
Well, they supposedly they're breaking up. Is what's out in them streets. So
We're
the
breaking
two of
up.
Paul Judge and Tanya. whatever her name is. That's the rumor mill in the street.
Sorry, this is different tea. We're focusing on tech tea right now, not
but
not Real
that's the funny
Housewives.
thing. Here's the thing: as someone who loves reality TV, and I'm so glad you brought that to the forefront of the conversation, because now this makes sense to you. Just like the situation with Eva Marcel, right? When Eva Marcel was going through the divorce with Michael Sterling, I know Michael Sterling as what he is as a business person in the city of Atlanta. You guys know him as just being the husband of Eva Marcel on the reality TV shows, right? These
Well, I knew
people
him as
are
a player, but yeah,
these people are real players, right? Paul is a major player.
that I knew. Yes,
Yes,
I
Paul
knew
George
Paul
is a
because I'm in the tech
major
space. Yeah.
player. So his other two partners in the Greenwood venture are Killer Mike and
Yep.
Ambassador Young.
Yes.
So you're talking about a collection that doesn't happen in any other city but Atlanta, where you have a shown enough from the streets all the way up, hip hop rap dude, to a tech entrepreneur, to a business entrepreneur, to Ambassador Young, who's a civil rights icon, all went into business together to create Greenwood, which was coming off of, obviously what happened in the last 4 or 5 years. Now, here's the part that always made me pause. The part that always made me pause was the fact that Greenwood is not a bank, even though they marketed themselves as a bank.
I didn't get that whole.
Greenwood is no different than Cash App or any other financial tech vehicle that has a bank which is backing it. So there's a
don't like
lot, huh?
I don't like it. I don't like it because it sounds like a rush card.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I'm good. That's not a bank. That's not a bank.
It's not a bank. It is exactly that. So people who had rush cards back in the day, that's what Greenwood is, right? And so as you look at this thing and you say, all you have to do is go into the footer of Greenwood's website, and in small print, it'll show you the community bank which backs Greenwood. You click on that link, it is Lily White.
Yeah.
And so Greenwood was promoted as being this great vehicle for black business, and God knows it was named after Greenwood, right? And the backing of this was this. So then this comes out. The Gathering Spot fires co-founder TK Petersen, replaces him with new CFO. And this was posted by our friend and yours, Ike Hayes III, who is a tech entrepreneur. And he has been stirring this pot all weekend, including, posts from Van Lathan, who we all know who Van Lathan is, right? And so this is how deep this goes. This is not just now Black Enterprise has picked this story up. AJC has picked this story up. It is all over the place. And so then what do? They send out to us who are members this email.
Yeah, talk about the email, because that's what I saw posted, and now that post is deleted. It only has the follow-up email that is now on the page.
So they send out this email, and they basically it was so cold and sterile, and they talked about the addition of this CFO. I don't remember what his name is, and the community went bananas. Hold up.
I have the original email, because I don't know if you read. Okay, what the original email said that went out to you guys, and it only said this. It said, as TK Petersen moves on to the new endeavors, his last day. No, that wasn't it.
That's not the first email. But go ahead.
It was a piece of one of these.
So as you work on pulling it up, it was so jumbled together. It was so jumbled together that the community jumped on it so crazy that then by it was like 12:30 in the morning on Saturday morning, we all got this second email that was much more glowing about TK, and it wouldn't be what it is without TK, and blah 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 blah.
Okay.
Blah. Right. And so as I'm looking, that's not right. As I'm looking at as I'm looking at this email, we're all like almost laughing that this thing was so poorly stitched together and put together, and said to myself, like, who do y'all think y'all are fooling, right?
Do you have the original one? Because I saw it. It was a weird little paragraph saying this is who the CFO is. TK is leaving. It was very blunt and matter of fact.
It was very blunt. It was very sterile. And so then after they sent that email, here's what I do have, which is posted on the Gathering Spots Instagram. So I'm not making this up, right? This is for anybody following the Gathering Spot to see. You may have seen some inaccurate reports of social media recent team change. We also are aware that some of you received an unauthorized email that was sent from a Gathering Spot email address that provided incorrect information.
No.
Man, stop. As you may have noticed, the email did not follow our standard brand style for official communication with the TGS community. We don't know. Us in the community who are marketers, sure, we understand your brand style guides. The average person reading the email didn't know nothing about no style guides. They knew that it was sloppily written and put out. We apologize for this disgruntled message with inaccurate information, which became a source for further media reporting. We apologize for any inconvenience caused by this incident and working on improving the security and controls. So your first paragraph is all about, oh, that's not really what we wanted to say. With that said, let's get you up to speed on the changes recently over the last year. So not just this one change, but not this what you just sent out, which was this garbage. We want to get you up to speed on what's happened over the last year. Okay. A thank you to TK as TK Petersen moves on to other endeavors.
Yep.
His last day as Chief Operating Officer. First of all, he was Chief Operating, but to say not executive. Chief Operating Officer of Gathering Spot will be July 31st. Without TK's leadership as co-founder, would not be what it is today. TK remains recognized as a co-founder and shareholder in Greenwood. We wish him. They even put the future endeavors in it. Did they put the future endeavors in there?
So here's the thing, what happened with that first email. Somebody probably said, their marketing or their digital marketing manager was like, y'all got to say something. And that person was probably hounding them all day. Y'all got to say something. Y'all got to say something. Y'all got to say something. That digital manager finally didn't get a response, put together a paragraph, asked the wrong person, probably somebody at Greenwood, like, yo, is this what y'all want to put out? Yes, go ahead and put that out. That person just put that out. So them throwing the digital man, I hate when they throw digital marketing managers under the bus. I know our marketing moment isn't right now, but I hate when they throw them under the bus. Like they didn't have to go through 5 other people to just post something. That's not how digital marketing managers and assistants aren't just out here like, oh, I feel like posting this, so I'm just going to post it. That's not how it works. Miguel knows that.
Yeah. No, so here in addition to, all of this gobbledygook that they put out there, right? After you done already dropped the ball, Mike McCloskey is this guy. All right. And so in addition to that, then you want to put this out, your diversity and inclusion post. This is TGS.
Where's the percentages page? They sent the percentages page too. Where's that? Yes.
It's right there.
Let me tell you why this made me laugh, that they put these percentages out there, because they have all these black executives with this one little white guy. It was like a weird game of Where's Waldo, by the way, trying to find the white person, which I feel like that's why they did it. That's why they did it like that. Because if you have the right light on the right black person, they look light skinned and the white guy kind of blends in. Anyway, so the next slide is the percentages of what the company is. And they're just kind of, well, we're still 75% black. We're still 95% black and minority. We're still 88% black and minority leadership. We're still mostly black.
Here's the bull crap in this, right? You don't have to have a diversity conversation if you're really TGS. You can't talk to, see, this is who you're talking to. You're talking to people who've been a part of this community from the very beginning. You don't need to have diversity as our DNA as part of the conversation. That makes it even more bullshit, okay? And so when it comes down to it, all that you put out is just the staff of TGS. This is not the staff of Greenwood. And they're getting ready to make me pull up what Greenwood looks like. Here's the thing, and I don't want to make sure that, because you guys are racist, blah, 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 blah. You do not understand the community of TGS. We all understand that there is going to be universal white general market money that's going to help most of our businesses thrive. Just don't lie to us.
Yes,
and that was the challenge. Right.
I think I have a bigger beef with Killer Mike with the bait and switch. I feel like it's a bait and switch. The bank was supposed to be. I
feel like Killer Mike was just a pawn. I'm just putting it out there. I feel like Killer Mike was a pawn in this thing. This is not about, Killer Mike is a part of it. I don't know what his percentages are. It's no different than the Serena Williams sisters owning a part of the Miami Dolphins. It's a marketing ploy to put some black faces out there to say it's something that it probably is not.
But don't you think this is worse than that?
Why I think it's, you know, why I think it's worse than that, because of the fact that they took advantage of of what we were going through as a community
Exactly.
at
That's
the
my
time, and they built this bank, right? They built this community, and when you look at it, you know, this is Greenwood's website, right? Killer Mike, you know, Ambassador Young, Brian Glover, Paul Judge is not even there, even though we know he's a big part of what's going on, right? And so everything about this thing, why we exist, Black Wall Street, blah, 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 blah. Greenwood is not a bank. Banking services provided by Coastal Community Bank, member FDIC, right? So you got your founding members.
it's a rush card.
And then you got your board and management, which they got Ryan listed there on the board and management, right? They didn't even out the graphic. Like they just threw him up there when they made the purchase. Said we got to have.
By the way, that's bothering me. That
what?
Yeah, I'm sorry that I don't
This?
stop. Scroll past it. Like,
Right.
it's bothering me. I like it.
So then when it's all done, here's the thing. It's not about who you are. It's about keeping it real with us, right? All of this thing is blackety, 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 black. When you want to sit up here and go to Coastal Carolina Bank, right? Here's Coastal Bank. Here is the bank, right? And so when you start to do your due diligence and you say, okay, Coastal Bank, where is business? There you go.
Oh, there you go.
Meet our leadership. This is the bank. Now, if we get into
Seinfeld.
if we get into the board of this bank, that'll be a whole different conversation, right? So once again, we're not tripping, but don't lie to us. You got all this stuff up about NAACP, UNCF. You got gooder information up here, the King Center, Greenwood Gives Back. All of this, la da 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 da.
It's just, again, I didn't like rush cards when they came out. I don't like Cash App. I don't like Greenwood Bank. I think it's all a scam to not help Black people have financial literacy. It's all just, it's easier for you to get money. It's easier, but easier is not always better. Easier is not education. I still think the Gathering Spot is a wonderful location. I would like to see how this goes. Miguel is angry. Y'all see him? He cussed and he leaning back in his chair. You can't see his cup on the side, but it's there. So I will follow Miguel and Tracy's lead on this. But I really enjoyed the Gathering Spot. Me and my husband and his friend. It's. I can't tell you guys how wonderful it is. If you're ever in Atlanta and they do an event there, jump at the chance to go. And I hope it keeps its luster.
So here's the thing. We haven't heard from either of the four guys in this screen. These are the four most important people that are involved in this deal. No one's talking about Killer Mike or Ambassador Young. God bless them. No one's gonna talk. No one's talking about there, because most of us in the community, we know where the rubber hits the road, right? So in this lawsuit, part of the lawsuit, they're actually seeking to regain ownership of the Gathering Spot from the Greenwood folks, and I hope they can pull it off. I hope they can pull it off, because here's the thing: even since you were here, Kia, they've done so much that area where the Gathering Spot is in Atlanta, it's getting ready to become so expensive to breathe. Like, they got so much construction going on there. I know I had heard through the grapevine and through some very credible sources that because that building, the Gathering Spot, is leased, they don't own that. That they've been trying to get them out of that space, right? Because that space is beautiful, as you saw. It's so well, it's gorgeous. It's everything about it was planned out very well, and now they wanted to get them out of there. So how do you get them out of there, right? You acquire it and turn it into what you want it to be, right? Because at that point, all you're doing is stripping some pictures off of the walls. To them, all you're doing is stripping some pictures off the wall.
You know what they're gonna do with it? You know what's
stripping
ready made to be, and this is gonna annoy the crap out of you, because then we'll change something after this. If you take the pictures off the wall and don't change anything else, it could be some hipster brewery farmers market.
Absolutely.
Easy peasy.
It's so. Here's the thing about the Gathering Spot that people don't. There are so many co-working spaces in Atlanta. There's so much entrepreneurship in Midtown. You've got WeWork, and you've got so many co-working spaces in Atlanta, right? That is not what is the endearing part of the Gathering Spot. The endearing part of the Gathering Spot is the community. They can't strip those pictures off the wall and think they're going to keep the community. And I'll leave you with this before we move on. I sat right in that parking lot on Mondays before any of this hit. Wasn't even thinking about this stuff because it hadn't hit yet. I sat in that parking lot on Monday, and I was going to walk in there, and I was just like, the Spirit didn't move me. And I sat right there and went right to the Russell Center, which is another organization. And the ironic thing about that, Jay Bailey, who was the CEO of the Russell Center, he built the Russell Center sitting in the gathering spot every day.
No.